Reliance Brands has been on a shopping spree, whether it is to buy stakes in fashion labels of designers like Ritu Kumar and Manish Malhotra, or to buy bringing brands to India or just owning their business in India. It's believed to be in talks with Lego, for example. And guess what? It's now entering the food business with a partnership with Pret A Manger. Pret A Manger, started in about 1980s. I first tried it in London. It was quite famous in the tube stations, Bond Street. They have another bigger outlet in Leicester Square, etc. The idea being quick and quick food that you can take on the go. It's freshly prepared, from sandwiches to salads to rolls. You literally pick it up. In some places you can eat it there, at least last time I went to London. So what are Reliance's and Pret A Manger's plans? We thought who better than that to get both the spokespeople here to discuss just that. So joining us now, the big boss of Reliance Brands, Darshan Mehta, is with us, as is Pano Christou, who is the CEO of Pret A Manger. Thanks, gentlemen, for being here with us. First up, Darshan, yet another big deal. Take us through it. What all does it entail? And, the quick service business in India, the quick service restaurant business is certainly picking up. A lot of action that is expected. And we've seen how companies like, let's say, Devyani International are growing. Yum Foods is growing. What's your plan?
Well, yeah, that space is slightly crowded, but this is not a QSR space that we are getting into. Pret is not a QSR business. It's a whole different format, and it is food-led and not beverage-led. So to that extent, that's the other change. Actually, the space that which Pret sits internationally in all the key geographies that they are present and where they will be present in India is a very unique white space, because it's really fine quality of foods, fresh foods with very fine quality of ingredients, served in a format which is equally a takeaway format and equally eat-in or a dine-in format. It's, as I mentioned, led by food with a good offering of warm and hot foods, but also so to say, pre-prepared foods, a combination from soups, sandwiches, different kinds of breads, lots of beverages, and of course, I'll let Pano speak a bit more about that. So it's quite a unique space, and I think we have a great first mover advantage. And globally, there isn't any real other format that comes too close to Pret. Pano, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think from our perspective, very excited to partner with Reliance to come to the Indian market. But I think that we have a very unique proposition, and I think that India is the largest English-speaking country in the world. There's a big connections between the UK and India. Many people, international travelers, coming from India to the UK. So I think the brand awareness is very strong in India. So I think that gives us a good basis to come to this market.
Pano, if I can come to you, what's your assessment of the Indian market? Like I said, the last time I was in London, I've seen Pret A Mangers, which are standalone outlets or, small ones in tube stations. What can we expect in India? Kiosks, proper outlets?
Well, I think, Pret operates across multiple countries and continents, and the format is relatively similar in regards to the look and feel. I think there will be some areas that you may need a bigger dining space, and there'll be some areas that you'll need less of that. So I think our plan is to open the first in Mumbai in the first fiscal year. And then from that, we'll learn how the customers interact with the product offer, how they interact with the space, and how they engage with the space, and look to refine and learn from that.
Darshan, we've all loved our masala chai, but we've also now become coffee connoisseurs, haven't we? The coffee market is brewing, and how? What are your plans for it?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, while clearly there is a wave of coffee happening in the country, but this is not a beverage or a coffee-led format. So I just wanted to, at the cost of repetition, it is essentially a food-led format, and I think that's what enthuses us. It's also a format that works across across day parts. So there are formats which work very well on more breakfast-led, so to say, offerings. There are lunch-led offerings, and there are geographies where even the evening part works very strongly. It's also very democratic in terms of the kind of consumer base, both in terms of age group as also in terms of affordability. So it equally caters to family traffics as the young college goers or the office goers. I think the travel, especially airports, would be a very big part of our offering and airport formats. And again, Pret has a very strong offering, whether it's at a bunch of Heathrow terminals or other European airports. So it's a multitude of things. But just as a cost of repetition, this is not a primarily coffee-led format. When you think of coffee, you don't think of Pret. When you think of wholesome, fresh, freshly prepared, high-quality ingredient food, you think of Pret.
Pano, what kind of a demographic does Pret A Manger typically attract? In India, what's the marketing plan as well? How are you going to make Indians aware of what your brand? Those who may not have seen it in Europe or been aware of it, you will have to educate them about what it's for, why they should come.
Well, I think from my perspective, Pret is a very democratic brand. And I think to Darshan's earlier point, we see a whole multitude of different age groups and different affluency levels interacting with the brand. But I think the key for us is to ensure that we have a menu that has a good pricing proposition at the lower end, at the medium end, and from a premium perspective. We are still yet to define the exact specifics on that. And we'll be doing our own set of consumer research to try and understand how we can position the price point. And we'll innovate the menu to ensure that we can appeal to the masses.
I think just to add to Panu's last point, the fact that they also localize flavors, taste palettes, sometimes categories across geographies. I think that's another interesting part of the proposition. And that's also both the learn, but also in terms of the offer as we go along, which will make another sticky point for Pret in this country.
Darshan, we'd heard a lot about Reliance Brands and Subway. Now you're officially entering the food business with this Pret A Manger partnership. What can we expect from Reliance when it comes to food? What's the larger strategy?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, we tend to follow, the RBL stories, we tend to follow the top 50 million consumers in India in terms of where they spend their time and where they spend their wallets. And of course, we have a great understanding of where they reside, where they shop, how frequently they go there, so on and so forth, etc. And clearly, all the top 30, 40 malls of the country, all the top-notch airports. I mean, these are in a sense easy wins. Also, India as a market is dramatically evolving. We have in the fashion business evolved formats like the White Crow, which is a very high and very actually close to luxury multi-brand offering. And I'm hugely pleased with how the White Crow format is doing in Surat or Dehradun or Bhopal. We're opening the next one in Patna. So as much as the Bombay, Delhi's, Bangalore's are easy and obvious wins, there is clearly surrogates out there in terms of how the other cities are playing catch up very quickly.